The Lullaby of the Forgotten. In a remote village, nestled deep within a dark forest, there was an old nursery that had long been abandoned. The townsfolk avoided it, whispering about the haunting lullaby that could be heard drifting through the trees at night. Legend had it that a mother, mourning the loss of her child, sang to the shadows in hopes of bringing her back. One fateful night, her song took a sinister turn, and she vanished, leaving only the eerie melody behind. One stormy evening, a group of friends dared each other to spend the night in the nursery. As they approached, the wind howled and the trees swayed ominously, as if warning them to turn back. Ignoring the unease, they pushed the creaking door open and stepped inside. The air was stale, thick with dust and despair. Faded murals adorned the walls, depicting scenes of joy that felt grotesque in the gloom. They set up a small camp in the center of the room, nervous laughter echoing off the walls. As darkness fell, they huddled close, recounting the story of the mother and her lost child. Just then, a haunting lullaby filled the air, soft and melancholic. The melody was beautiful yet chilling, like a siren's call. It seemed to seep from the very walls, wrapping around them like a cold embrace. One friend, Sarah, stood up. "I'll find the source," she declared, her voice shaky. The others protested, but she was already wandering into the dim hallway, drawn by the music. The melody grew louder, more insistent, resonating in her bones. "Sarah, come back!" they shouted, but their voices were swallowed by the lullaby. The sound led her to a small room at the end of the corridor. As she entered, the door creaked shut behind her, sealing her inside. The room was empty except for a worn rocking chair that swayed back and forth, seemingly on its own. In the corner, a dusty music box sat, its lid slightly ajar. Sarah approached it, heart racing as the lullaby played on repeat. When she opened the box, the music stopped, and silence filled the room. But then, a voice whispered, sweet and sorrowful, "Come play with me." Suddenly, shadows began to emerge from the corners, swirling around her, whispering her name. Panicking, Sarah backed away, but the shadows lunged forward, cold hands grasping at her. The last thing she heard was the lullaby starting again, now twisted and dark as the shadows enveloped her. Back in the main room, her friends waited anxiously. Hours passed and the lullaby faded. Finally, they mustered the courage to search for Sarah. They called her name, but only silence answered. When they reached the small room, the door swung open, revealing an empty space. The music box lay on the floor, lid open, the lullaby playing softly, but no sign of Sarah remained. The friends fled the nursery, terror etched on their faces, the haunting melody echoing in their ears. As they reached the edge of the forest, they turned back, only to see shadows dancing in the windows, and the lullaby continued, calling for the next lost soul to join. From that night on, the village spoke of the nursery with fear. The lullaby still floated through the trees, a siren song luring the curious and the brave, forever echoing the fate of those who dared to listen too closely.